wind. Irritating. Hello.
Aaliyah Boss to the attendant's office. Aaliyah Boss to the attendant's office.
Shit on her bone. Look at her face. It's one of those that you can lean.
Oh, you
See her
did
face? Make it wiggle. It's right here. Is that one her face? It looks like it. Did she hold her bone like that? Yes. Chews on it. See that light in the background?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Is it a glass?
It's colored glass from like the 1800s. It's a train lantern. For caution, it would have been a gas lantern that they would have held when trains were coming by. So you need to slow down. The yellow means it's like steel and it's got blue glass. It's really cool. Bought it at a cheap store. Because it's like a really rare thing. I like the color of it. The wind good enough for you out there? It's driving me nuts. Make the decision that it's a bad hair day and it doesn't matter. It's like,
Are you okay?
Remember last time? I was like,
Guess whose father I saw last night
Mine.
and didn't say anything?
Not mine.
Wasn't that nice of me?
My dad told me. He was talking to me. He was all like, yeah, we were talking smack about you.
No, you gotta be careful of that.
Such a lot.
I saw, but I was in the middle of like some
Yeah, you were on the bike.
intensive training right there. Well, you know, for me to maintain my Adonis-like figure, physique, I have to train extra hard.
what's the password?
For what?
It's one of those funny things, like I feel like, okay, there's somebody I know near me. You ever get those? And then I look up and I kind of look around, there's your dad. I sensed it. How you guys doing today? 2 hours of this.
Oh my
Hey,
god.
I might know.
What's the password?
I should have left what I had a chance.
the password?
Yeah.
Is it 208 RAHS or is that backwards? Is it RAHS 208?
In the name?
I think it's 208 RAHS.
Password is 2?
I think that's what it is. Is it not letting you on?
No, not yet.
Okay, go. Hey, take that to Mr. Kerr if he's there and ask him what it is. Okay? Write it down. In fact, take it here. Take this. You got a pen?
Yeah.
Tell him that that you're using a Mac that you got from one of the cows in Mr. Ginter's room. And you don't know the password. Tell him you're doing work in my class. Okay?
So Mr. Kerr, right?
What do you mean?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll leave it up to you guys. Do you want term review first, and then we read out the chapter? Or you want to read out the chapter first, and then go to term review? And then I was going to let you guys, second half, give you guys a chance to work on previous assignments. You guys don't give a crap what we do you?
I was ready.
You're just looking at me like, some of you aren't even looking at me. Tyler's the only one's looking at me. He hasn't stopped looking at me, and quite frankly, it's starting to freak me out. Nico is acting like I'm freaking. How do you hear?
All is taken.
Thank you. Nicole, what would you like to do? You want to just go home and go to sleep, huh? I hear
The wind
Me
makes
too.
it that way.
you. The wind.
That presentation from this morning made me want to call.
One guy was
In the
talking the
back.
whole time.
Oh, you were there?
Was that the same guy talking the whole time?
No. There was all mine now.
They were all.
Except for the last guy.
The one that was. I
It's
couldn't.
just like, it's all mine.
Oh.
Like an episode of Charlie Brown.
What did you learn from? Share with the class what you learned from the
But we
presentation.
need to work harder on the homeless officer.
Okay.
They need to work
Yeah.
harder on something.
I've thought that for a long time.
So did they come up with suggestions?
Donating clothes. Closing is the most important thing.
Well, there's Econ,
What about
there's
shelter?
Goodwill,
Don't
there's all
they
those places that have some
live
good
at the
clothes.
river? They need shelter, they need a good place.
They're in shelters. What are we talking
Okay, I'm gonna ask the person who attended the actual presentation to report out. We're not here to debate. I just want you to report out to your classmates, what did you learn?
Housing is the first most important thing to homeless people, and
Well, there's your shelter.
clothing is the most, there's the second one.
They didn't, they left.
They didn't mention pictures of Mr. Wallace.
They
That's
didn't
the
mention-
amount
There's a
of-
guy named Jason.
They didn't mention food?
Yeah, there's a,
If I was hungry and I had a choice of some new clothes or clean clothes and some food, I would pick the food.
No, I pick the clothing and sell the clothes.
Ah.
How do you sell the clothes, but you're homeless?
I mean, to your homeless friends.
But they don't,
They barter.
No, that's, I mean,
Yeah, people's rent stuff.
making trade, that's a good
Right.
suggestion.
so what else did you learn? Like, you said that we need to work harder, so I'm assuming the community, so as a society, so what does it require?
Wait, Mr. Wallace.
Did they say?
When did
Did
this
the
happen?
presenter say? Oh, let her.
Wait, to sell clothes? Like if you're
No, we're
homeless?
not talking about selling clothes.
No, I know, but you said something about homeless though, didn't you?
No.
No, we're talking about chupacabras right now. Okay, so,
For real?
what, no, to sell, what's your point? What about it? To sell clothes, what?
Well, no, I know, but like you said, if you were homeless.
I didn't say anything. Nicole said she would take the clothes and then sell them so that she could buy food.
Very
If she was homeless,
I would steal people's stuff and
well,
sell.
I don't think that would work to be honest. 'Cause what if like the clothes are in a condition where they're ripped?
That's why you sell them to other homeless people.
Okay,
They
but
wouldn't
if
have
you
money.
really think homeless people would give you money though, come on now.
Yeah, actually, if you sell them things, I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, you're assuming all homeless people have no money.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm
what
not
you
talking.
do.
I'm not talking about money.
Then why wouldn't they buy?
I'm just saying. No, I'm not talking about money.
No, so here, you know what?
This is a good
I
debate.
think I know where this is an economic issue. Would there be a demand? Right? So in order for there to be demand, whether or not you have a market, huh?
I never said anything about
You
money.
listening?
Never said anything
Fields?
about money.
Your dad would be interested to know about this. So in order to have a market, you have to have a demand, and of course to have a demand, you have to have the desire and coupled with the ability to pay. So the question is, if I'm a homeless, now, here's something that you might want to consider though. If your market is other homeless people, and they are people who have access to free clothing, they might not be buying, like, why would I buy clothing off you when I could go down to a shelter and maybe pick up? I don't know how this works, I haven't been homeless, right?
Okay.
Right, you know, my son and I, we were talking about something the other day, and he said, well, why don't I just, he was joking about quitting his job this summer and going on unemployment. And so, and I don't know, like, when my son, when he's joking, when he's serious, but I look at, you guys probably find this really annoying, I look at everything that someone says as a potential learning opportunity, right? So I said to him, I said, so would you feel good about yourself? Like, he goes, well, I'm paying into it. I said, no, I said, you know, I paid into it too. I've been paying into it all of my life. But I said, you know, Jack, we come from a family where handouts, that's not something that we want. So if I have taught you, and I said, now, when I say that, it's not like I'm saying someone should be shameful for taking a handout. But what it implies is that if you're being provided for, either from another family member or through your own labor, then you shouldn't seek out the aid of others. Because there might be somebody who needs it more than you. So I asked him, I said, because here's the thing, Jack, you could quit, receive unemployment,
But
do you deserve it?
you don't get unemployment if you quit. You have to be fired.
Right, well, that wasn't the point.
Okay.
We weren't discussing how to get unemployment, it's just like, would you feel good about living on unemployment when you're an able-bodied person? Yes.
I need to wash my-
Yes.
I have to go to the Saturday, I'll be back.
Good luck out there. Don't get blown over by the wind.
It's gonna be fun.
But you bring up, Ernesto, you bring up the issue of demand. And of course, she's out of the room right now, but you bring up the issue of demand, and if there's no demand, then, you know, these kind of entrepreneurs, see, she's thinking like an entrepreneur. I'll get the free handouts of clothes, turn around and sell them. Now, some of the assumptions that you're making, though, if they're ratty old clothes, do you assume that the clothes that they give out to homeless people are ratty? You know, if I'm giving out clothes, I'm probably not going to give out stained, ratty old clothes. I mean, I imagine, you know, I'm going to give out decent clothes to someone. I mean, you know, they're homeless. They're not completely fashionless. They might have a sense of, well, I don't want to look homeless. Especially if they're trying to get a job, right? What else did you learn, Libby? Like, so it's a societal problem. So what are some of the problems that society is creating besides not providing enough shelters? Are there other, like, did these people address, like?
The housing market is one of the bigger problems because there's a waiting list for people to have housing and get into the apartments that are being paid for.
Subsidized by the programs. And those houses aren't being built as fast as they were supposed to be built. Yeah. And you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but Sacramento's kind of a magnet for homeless people. Why? You guys know? No, not necessarily. Weather. As cold as it gets here in the winter, it's not as cold as, say, if you could imagine being homeless in, say, Reno.
It's snow.
Yeah, it's really cold. So it does get cold here, and people can die from exposure to the cold, but it's not as bad as some places. And then, of course, it doesn't rain as much as other places here. So it's kind of, and there's, you know, it's a flat area, and there's a big river, a couple of rivers that run through town, and so there's a lot of desirable qualities for Sacramento. I don't know if you guys know this too, Sacramento is the dumping ground for people who get out of prisons. Oftentimes they're sent here to Sacramento. This is a big administrative center. So when we had Sacramento at one point in the 1980s, when I was your age, we had the highest murder rate per capita in the United States. And my stepdad was a cop, and I remember I asked him, I said, because it, you know, I mean, I grew up out here, and I thought, you know, it doesn't seem like so violent. Yeah, and we were famous for, we had a lot of like serial killers who were making it. It's like, why is Sacramento? Why is this stuff up here? Well, then I find out that because Sacramento is, when you get out of prison, you get out of this, the CDC, the California Department of Corrections, sends you here, you're processed here, and then you're let out on the street. With whatever. That is if you don't have someone to pick you up. So if you're a prisoner, don't have family, no one to pick you up, they'll send you, they probably give you a couple bucks, maybe $100 in your pocket and say, hey, good luck. You know, yeah, oh yeah, I have great job prospects because I've been in prison this whole time, and people love hiring former inmates, right? And then you set them out in society. So then the question, of course, though, is who pays for this stuff? Taxpayers. Are you guys okay with your tax dollars going to these programs? But if you say no, if you're someone who says no, can we put away cell phones right now? Thank you. If you're someone who says no, then do you still have to deal with the reality of, say, homelessness and this kind of thing? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
The government will take it anyways.
Well, the government will take it anyways. They're going to take tax dollars, but then the question is this too. By not paying tax dollars into the homeless issue, do the homeless population, does it decrease?
Yeah.
It does? So if there's fewer programs to assist people, that means there's going to be fewer homeless people?
Kind of, yes and no.
It makes it disappear?
Yeah, then they'll find someone else to go that gives them free stuff. But then they'll just all pile up on the streets. Which makes it worse.
So in the end, maybe tax dollars that we pay now for certain programs might be better spent. My sister lives in Oakland, well, she lives in El Cerrito and works in downtown Oakland. And I don't know, have you guys been to downtown Oakland lately, any of you here? I went there last spring to see a concert with my daughter. And we were like heading to the waterfront down by an area they call Jack London Square. It's a beautiful waterfront area. So imagine like restaurants and bars and nightclubs along the waterfront, right? Beautiful hotels and stuff. And there's, you guys know what a shanty town is? A shanty? A shanty town is like a clapboard. It's like people just throwing up cardboard and tin and stuff to make temporary housing for themselves. They'll call that a shanty town.
I see that on movies all the
You
time.
see that on movies, there you go. You guys ever see, what is it called, District 9? Have you guys seen the movie District 9? You guys haven't seen
It
that?
sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
Nico, you with us?
Yeah.
Check out District 9. It's about aliens. It takes place in South Africa, and the aliens have been corralled in a shanty town. And what it was it's a commentary on apartheid and their policies against the blacks of South Africa, the white apartheid government of South Africa. What they did is they took like Zulus and people from like, tribal, from, the wildlands who came into the cities to look for jobs. And then the whites in the cities didn't want these people living near them. So they created these shanty towns and stuck them all in there, surrounded them with police and military.
So they can't get out.
Well, they're supposed to get out, right? But they don't want them they don't want the crime that takes place in these shanty towns. I mean, because you got very desperate, very uneducated, poor people who are jammed in, so it becomes kind of a ghetto. But it's not even a ghetto implies, like a ghetto in America implies, well, there's buildings that are up, and people are living in a shanty town, implies that there were no buildings to begin with. People put up these buildings, right?
Then what happens when it rains?
What happens when it rains? You get wet, I reckon. And all the sewage and all the filth and stuff pools up, and yeah. So, anyway, so you have that. So I was in Oakland, and they have these shanties all along the waterway. Jack London Square, don't know if you've been there. And it's just these homeless.
Right now?
I don't know about right this second. When I was there last spring for the concert, I went with my daughter. And we're driving, my daughter was like, oh my God. And I was looking, I was like, oh, I heard about this. I hadn't seen it myself.
So it's like a shanty town?
It's not like it is. All along the waterfront, close to Jack London Square, for blocks and blocks. You're driving along.
Is it a state park or?
No, it's just the streets.
Oh,
And they're underneath, I believe, part of the Nimitz Freeway. And so that's the shelter, that's their roof. And along the sidewalk there, so you have like sidewalk, and then you have like fencing, and then on the other side of the fencing, I think it's either industrial stuff or maybe I want to say a railroad or something. And they have it from the sidewalk leaning up against the chain link fence that lines this whole, and it's a whole boulevard of this. You drive in, it's probably at least a mile. A mile is a long distance.
yeah.
At least a mile, and just all these shanties and people, it's like, hey, I mean, you don't see public restrooms up. They're probably pooping and peeing somewhere, and it's just, these are, so the question goes back to, if you don't address it, does it go away? And then how is it going to be addressed? You address it through more policing? Do you address it through programs? And then, of course, programs. Who pays for the programs?
Taxes we do.
Taxpayers pay for it. So the question is, as taxpayers, what do we put our money into? So, all right, so we're going to review terms that you guys, what is opportunity cost? Nicole, give me an example of opportunity cost. And if Nicole can't answer this, Ernesto will be certain to help you. You can either give me a definition of an opportunity cost, or give me an example of one.
It costs to choose where you want to shop at.
Not really.
That's cool.
What's that?
So,
No, that's the opportunity. So here's the opportunity is this. When we're talking about opportunity cost in terms of economics, we're talking about, I mean, theoretically, yes, but we're talking about your ability to make money. Your decisions that affect your income potential. So how do you get an income, guys? How are you guys supposed to get an income?
getting a job.
Through a job, okay? So then there are opportunity costs that come from going to working or not working. So what's an example, Nicole? What would be an example of an opportunity? So it means making money, right? So if you work a job, let's say you work at McDonald's. Let's say there's a McDonald's that opens up down the street here, and you work there. Are you losing out on other opportunities? And if so, what are they? When I talk about other opportunities, I'm not talking about, well, I'm at work so I can't go out and hang out with my friends. We're not really talking about that. Yes, those are opportunities to enjoy a certain standard of living, but we're talking about other opportunities to make money. What are you missing out on by working? Let's say you're working a lot. A better job, and what else? So you work at McDonald's, you get stuck into a cycle, perhaps you're missing out on a better job like where? What do you think would pay more than McDonald's right
State
now?
job.
Okay, maybe working for the state. Why would a state job pay more?
Because don't they have like
Working for the president.
they have like important things better than serving food to other people. But then again, that is important. But you know, the grocery store for a reason.
This is why I say all work is a sacrament. Not only that, but state jobs provide people with much better benefits. Okay, typically than say working in a fast food industry. Okay, so you lose out on an opportunity, so that might be better in that sense.
So you're saying if you work at a dental place, you get dental,
I don't know about dental places.
or somewhere and it gives you dental and you don't even need it, but you can still use the benefits?
Okay. I can't speak about them, but I imagine depending on what you do at a dental office, you're probably gonna get paid more.
I was a dental assistant,
Did you
a
get braces free?
registered dental assistant in the state of California. It's up to the doctor if they want to provide you with dental,
Wait,
then
wait.
they do the dental usually. And yes,
Okay.
I got raises, I got a bonus from one doctor that was a whole paycheck at Christmas. So did the lady in the front office. They can be good employers, but you have to learn your trade that you do in the office.
So if you work at McDonald's, now, do they just hire anyone to be a dental assistant?
No.
What do you need?
The dental degree.
Training.
So you need
The license.
training. So if you work at McDonald's and you work so much that it affects your ability to go to school, is that an opportunity cost?
No.
No?
Yeah.
It is. Wait.
It is. Because if you could like maybe work less and go to school, or work a lot for a long time, save up your money, and be able to quit and just go to school and focus on school. See, these are the decisions that people have to make. That's why I would go to Alaska. I wanted adventure, but the thing about going to Alaska, the potential was I'd make so much money, I wouldn't have to work as much when I came back to go to school.
Then
And
why
I
didn't
could
you do that?
dedicate my time to school. What's that?
Then why didn't you do that?
I did do that.
And did you come back with what you made?
I came back with money to live on and I blew it because I was young.
But you did what you set out to do.
I bought a Fiat.
You bought a Fiat?
A
What
Fiat.
Fiat?
850
An
Spider.
850 Spider, we sat in
Convertible,
our
purple.
backyard.
It actually is burgundy.
What happened
Where'd you
to it?
buy it? From a private party?
What happened to it?
I'll see if I can find the picture. Yes.
You'd buy a brand new or used?
No, it was used.
My dad was the only dealer.
Well, maybe it came from your dad's shop.
Probably did.
It was an 850 Spider.
I love
Burgundy.
850
I'll see, there's a picture of me standing
I
by
thought you
it.
were scared of
God,
spiders.
you showed me.
This, and it's a cold winter day, and Yeah, my daughter saw it, she's like,
I only
you
got,
drove a car like that?
those are cool, I only got to drive.
Is it exotic?
It's a convertible Italian sports car, was
Oh,
it
yeah.
exotic? This is how exotic it was, let me tell you, this is
They're
how.
fast little cars.
I was out one night, and I ran into an old girlfriend who I liked a lot. And we started talking, and she said, so what's new? And I said, I got this really nice car. I said, you want to take a spin in it? That'd be cool. So we get in the car, I put the top down, right, convertible, summer's night, we get in the car, freaking drivetrain broke.
Yeah, fix it again, Tony.
Yeah,
The
so,
other day.
so I'm sitting there and she's like, oh, this is cool. And I'm like, I can start it, but I can't get it in gear. And I'm like, oh God. She's like, do you need me to call it like AAA for you or something? No. I said, you can go. And she's left me there. I was stuck downtown.
Oh, it was
with a
parts
broken
like
At
that.
age 16, I learned how to run
parts
and
like
pop
that?
the clutch and start your car in second gear.
I learned how to hijack a car when I was 12. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Because they would.
No. So my clutch,
Man, it's
my
an old
clutch
piece of
line
car.
had broken.
No.
This is
So I
like the
couldn't get it in gear.
1960s
I
car
started, I couldn't get it.
they used to have on movies. Like the 19 movies.
They like James
1960s.
Bond have a car like that.
Yeah.
Guys, Fiats now are just this little car. They used to be many different models. And, yeah, they were nice. And in Europe, they still have many different models. They used to import them all here. Now they don't.
So Nicole, give me an example of opportunity costs. So if you go to college, what opportunities are you missing out on if you go to college?
Money.
Nicole? Through what?
Working.
Through your job.
Thank you,
But
Nicole.
by sacrificing money while you go to college, is the opportunity cost worth it? Why? Say again?
You want to get a better career.
Because going to college might lead to a better career, which could, in the long run, get you more money. So you understand opportunity costs. Let me try one more person. Nico, give me an example of opportunity costs. Oh, wait.
Saved by the Bell.
One of your ladies.
It's not what you want.
Safe by the ring.
Hold on.
Saved by the ring. Saved by the phone.
Let's see. Before
My whole business was the ring.
By the
Oh, yeah. What's up, babe? Babe.
The Prince imitation.
I made it.
It's not good.
That's cool. This is weird.
It's gonna start over and it shows how I made it.
What are you wearing?
So cool.
Stop.
All right. Give me a kiss.
Oh. We probably already hung up.
Gee.
She hung up on her.
Oh,
Ryan's on
Don't
his way.
blame her.
oh, look at the celebrity.
Done with that one.
There's only one person I speak to like that.
There's Marlo.
This Mr. Ball. Okay.
That's a great.
What?
No. That's one of my girlfriends. Opportunity cost. Nico, give me an example of opportunity cost.
Go for something.
Excellent. Citing work rather than getting an education. Devin, give me an example of opportunity cost. Citing to get an education instead of working. The flip side of what Nico just said. Are you listening to one another?
No.
I'd like you guys to listen to one another.
Man, we have 2 hours in this.
Give me an example of a want. And whatever Tyler picks, I'm going to call on another person. You're going to give me the corollary need to the want. Give me a want.
I can't really think of anything.
Well, think of what are the needs. But don't give me a need, give me a want. Think of
Want a
needs
big
and then
house.
substitute or insert for that need a want. For example, question, is food a need?
Yes.
So what would a want be?
In and out.
Going in and out. Instead of
Burger King.
Buying
buying what?
your own groceries.
No, instead of having to cook it.
Okay, well, and getting your own groceries.
Well, I mean,
that's
if
it.
you
not
want to
eating a
cook,
burger.
you obviously have to buy the groceries on whatever you want to make.
Hey, Ryan.
Or you can go to a church that gives out free food.
Ryan, come in here. Yeah. Yeah, you could. I mean, but you would have to be able to count on that daily, right? And there might be a point too, Tanisha, where you get tired of going to a church and getting out free food. You know?
Yeah.
So, again, when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about in the context of think of your own lives, and you guys are going to go out and you're going to do your best to find a job to try to support yourself and try to contribute to the rest of society through what, Libby? Take off the headphones, please.
I can hear you.
Take
Would
out
you
the
guys put away
headphones,
your
Libby.
cell phones, please? Like,
No.
take them off your desk. You refuse to? Really? You want to, or do you want to push me? You want to see where I'm willing to take this?
Yes.
You really do?
He does.
Dude, you'll just leave and go to freaking Ludwig's.
I
Where,
will
where is
too.
she gonna go? No, you can't.
Why not?
Well, I guess you could. She'll probably kick you out though.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
Would you go to Ludwig's?
Yeah.
Well, I want you to do that. That's no punishment.
That's the point.
I need you guys to be engaged in this. I'm asking questions right now. We're
Then we're
covering.
gonna do chapter 4.
Headphones off, Libby. Come
Where-
I
on.
mean,
I can
5.
hear
We're gonna get to chapter
Did I ask
5.
if you can hear him?
You're working on that. Good.
No.
Okay, so back to this. Wants versus
No.
needs. So give me a want.
The password's not working.
Andrew, I don't know what to tell you. Then put it away. Screw it.
Cry me a river.
Don't you supposed to put your name in?
I don't know.
Yeah, I put my name.
Wait for what?
This.
Got one.
Excuse me, hey guys. Tyler is going to give us a want.
Is it really?
Then I'm going to call on you. You're going to give
Are
me
you
the
gonna give me the
corollary need. Excuse me, Ernesto. Go.
A Netflix subscription.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh my god.
No. A Netflix. So his is a Netflix
A
subscription.
flat screen.
What's the
Wait.
need? Is there a need? Excuse me. Listen. Is there a need that's attached to a Netflix subscription?
Entertainment.
No.
Internet.
Okay. Now
Electricity.
question. You said entertainment.
Yes.
You have my careers class. We've had this discussion. That's good. Right? Is that where you remember it from?
Yeah.
So it's copying to the fact that entertainment is a need. I mean, life isn't meant to just toil and suffer.
Some people actually do. They don't.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay? But when given an opportunity, most people will seek out some fun, some beauty, something that makes life worth living for. All right? So is entertainment a need?
Yes.
I think the honest answer to that is probably for most people.
Yeah, I need entertainment right now. I'm bored. Isn't that what it's for? I'm just saying.
You know my pain.
No.
No.
I'm okay. I can live with being bored, just as long as you guys are talking.
Mr. Wallace.
Cry,
Yes.
Mr. Wallace, cry.
Paulus did not send one to Tyler, maybe he forgot. Should I email him and ask him?
No.
My nails are so long. You see that?
I mean, I don't
That
want
ties
to.
in the net.
You know what I mean?
Not for
Yeah, just, yeah, if that's, you know, and then if it comes later, I mean, I don't, you know, maybe he doesn't want to do it this time, I don't know. But it's like, I don't want to micromanage.
Right.
Yeah.
But Miss Walk, I have a question.
Yes,
So if we're going to, what's the college called?
what's the college called?
Yeah, I don't know.
The college, American River College?
Who
The
knows?
other one.
Laurel Ruff isn't a college.
Oh yeah, Laura Ruff.
That's
Can
not
you
a
do
college.
It's what they call a transition program.
Yeah, can you do summer school even if you're not enrolled in there yet or something like that?
So here's the deal. In order to attend Laurel Ruff, once you graduate from high
Wait,
school,
who goes to
if
summer
you want to
school?
graduate from high, and I'm going to say this, just throw this out at you, you probably wouldn't qualify for Laurel Ruff. Okay,
Yes.
so let me say that. Now, having said that, and that's not a criticism of Laurel Rough.
Yeah.
There's certain level of support that they provide, and if you need it, if you want it, you cannot have a high school diploma. Now, what that means is, if you get a high school diploma here at Rio, if you're on track to get a diploma, and you want to attend Laurel Rough, we have to keep it from you. You cannot be handed the diploma, because once you get handed the diploma, the school district considers you done with the school district. Now you are no longer able to access any of the programs. So what we do is you walk across the stage, you get your little handout thing that you get, and where they give the diplomas on the day of graduation, they give them down in the basement. Well, that used to be, that used to be at, not Hughes, Memorial Auditorium.
Yeah.
Because there is a basement, that's where all the students would go, congregate before
downtown,
graduation.
I don't know.
In downtown. Now, it's not gonna be a memorial this year, so there's probably gonna be another room, it's not. There's gonna be another room where you guys will go to pick up your diplomas.
Yeah, I think it's like how
I think so.
It's not.
Okay, but here's the thing, so listen. If you want to go to, if you want to go to Laurel Rough, if that's the point, you cannot pick up your diploma. You'll still get a diploma. What they do is we'll send it to Laurel Rough, and the principal there puts your diplomas in a safe, and once you're done with the program at Laurel Rough, they will hand you the diploma. Okay? But once you touch it, and you leave with it, you're done.
Mr. Voss, I have an economic question.
Okay?
Could that create an economic impact
Could
on
what?
not having that diploma in hand? The student wanted to get a job,
You know,
or would the principal at Laurel Rough tell the
they
employer?
give them jobs at Laurel Rough. There's a job thing.
Well, I
It's
thought
basically like
if you wanted
another
to work at
workability,
McDonald's,
but it's like,
But they
so right now,
It wouldn't
most
be like
places
an
don't
actual
ask
job.
to see your diploma.
They don't?
no.
No.
Okay.
No.
But you have, no one, I mean, think about like jobs like, no one's gonna ask to see, I shouldn't say no one. Most entry-level positions, especially say in the fast food industry, in the construction industry, they don't need to see paperwork. Okay? Now, I had to show a copy to be a teacher of my paperwork. I didn't have to show them my diplomas, but I had to show them my transcripts, unofficial transcripts. All right, with that said, you don't have to, and you know, there's a lot of debate over whether, what does a diploma get you anymore?
What is a graduation like? What is it called? Like a graduation track or something like that?
So right now, I imagine everybody in this class is on diploma track. So that means in order to graduate from high school with a diploma, you have to have 2 years of PE, 4 years of English, 2 years of math. One of those has to be high math, not like kind of high.
yeah, it would be,
And then, you know, there's 1 year of VAPA.
cause,
So as long as you fulfill those classes and you pass them, then you'll get handed a diploma.
well,
Okay, and then they have what they call the A through G requirements. If you want to go on to a 4-year college right out of high school, you have to meet your A through G requirements. So right now, in the state of California, that is for a CSU, a California State University, like Sac State, Chico State, Humboldt State, schools like that, you have to have 2 years of a foreign language. You have to have 1 year of a high science.
does Spanish count? I don't.
So it has to be
Yes,
beyond
it does.
biology.
But not for you.
What not for you?
Spanish counts. You know what else counts for 1 year? Sign language. You take a sign language class at AR, that counts for 1 year of a foreign language.
I only
So if
know-
you take 1 year of Spanish at high school and you've taken sign language, you fulfilled your 2-year requirement, just so you know. Okay? All right, so there's that. So, Netflix. The what is Netflix? Now, if the need is entertainment, are there cheaper forms of entertainment besides
Isn't that
Netflix?
counted in
Yeah.
mine?
Because Netflix is going to cost you how much?
$9.
$7 a month
Okay, whatever it costs a month. So
Isn't it
there's a
nine?
monthly fee.
if you want.
So if you can't meet your budget,
Yeah.
you guys remember your budgets from
Yeah, they
before?
were like over.
And
like-
you guys were like, yeah, if you weren't over, you were real close to the edge of it. You might have to find, you know, you're gonna have to take money from something.
You're gonna
Whether it's
take
from
money from-
entertainment, or from food, or from, you know, whatever your rental, your housing costs.
You can start that month. Just kidding.
Can you guys still access movies online without Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
also
Bootleg
Redbox,
websites.
Or you get one of those TV antennas that
Redbox.
just goes to the air.
Fire Stick.
What?
Okay. So you guys, so when you talk about like bootleg, you know, there's a huge market, I heard, in North Korea for bootleg American movies. And people will make CDs here. They'll put it on DVDs and they'll take them to Korea. These are
Those are
Koreans,
horrible.
and they will sell them on the black market
Those are
to
horrible.
people.
But they
It's
go,
like when you're in the
that
movie theater and they just sit like right here and
Dude,
it's
they
horrible.
have
I
trash
imagine
quality.
you-
Yeah, it's like the person in the movie theaters, they just sit right in the front.
Yeah,
You can see
it's-
people walking past.
Yeah, it's trash quality.
And you can see their head like right in the middle.
Well, one time, I bought this.
Well, I would imagine that, well, hold on.
They have
That's
to be
assuming the
CD.
bootleg, but wouldn't they just download it? Like you have a movie, a
Right.
DVD, and then you download it? onto
Yeah,
your
but you have to
computer?
wait until it
No,
comes out,
yeah,
which is like a few months.
one time.
Oh, they're probably watching movies from like
Yeah.
many years ago.
98.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, like Rambo, stuff like that. I hear action movies are really
Rango.
popular.
Rango,
That's my movie.
the lizard.
Yeah.
No, he said
He
Rambo.
said Rambo,
That
though.
was way before your time.
I watched Rambo
Okay.
before.
All right, so we're understanding wants versus needs, opportunity, costs. Next,
Wait.
resources. Give
Mr.
me
Wall, you
different
know,
types
one
of
time
resources.
I bought a movie from a Mexican dude off a truck.
I bought a Mexican movie off of a taco truck. Just kidding.
Okay.
It's horrible quality. Yeah. I think he ripped me off because the thing was $9.
We got.
All right, everyone, just tell us about the
I was
various
only 7.
foreigners you've bought movies from. Let's get it off our chest. Go ahead.
Like sometimes there's like drug dealers that sell movies, and they're horrible qualities because I think they were drugged up when they took the video. And some of them, one of them wasn't even a video; it was just about a whole bunch of people talking in the background. It was really weird.
Bro, that's Mexicans for you.
Cause you know how like some people when like I guess the police comes in and they like mess up their whole drug dealing process.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, they were videoing the whole time.
But first of all, it's not police officers, they're DEA.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, the two of you could go to Mrs. Ludwig's. You guys can talk about movies all you want.
Really?
Sure.
Oh heck yeah.
While we discuss Econ. When they go, you just say, well, if she asks, just say, oh, I sent him. You probably shouldn't go there because you're not on her case.
But she still likes
So I shouldn't. Well, you can ask. You could say, I didn't kick you out. I invited you to continue this conversation outside of Econ. Since
The conversation
we're
is
trying
boring.
to have an Econ. Well, you know what? Ty, disenroll in this class. Take another class.
But don't I need this class to graduate?
Uh-huh.
Well, what did I do that for?
Take Econ with another teacher.
No.
You find me boring, you are entitled to find me
Wait,
boring.
Mr.
You have that
Watt,
right.
she never said she found you boring. She just said she found
The
the
class.
class boring. Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, but maybe there's another Econ class that you will find more interesting.
No.
Well, then deal with it. Learn to deal with it. Are you leaving? You're actually leaving. By the way, nice background.
You told me to
Looks
leave.
like something out of, what's that band? I want you, want me.
I can't think of it.
You, Cheap Trick.
Cheap trick.
Right? Didn't he have a guitar that was
But
like
we
that?
did. Something
It's from the.
You guys are like, you guys are old.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yup.
I congregated in the Memorial Auditorium for many concerts. I want to say that.
Memorial.
There's a Scottish kind of alt rock band called Frightened Rabbit. And they do a version of Cheap Trick. What's the song? Mommy's Alright.
Oh.
They do a version of the song that I think is freaking brilliant. Sit down. Let me play. Should I play it? Okay.
Do it.
You got Ernesto back.
Yeah, I got Ernesto. Ernesto would never wanted to go. That's the thing. I love you, Ernesto. Ernesto, come back. Okay, I don't love you. Will you stay if I... Oh, we lost him. Oh, I never sent the damn freaking email.
Libby just hit me
Oh my god.
right in the eye. I'll cry.
You want me to go?
Tyra Banks is in the book, on page 7.
Oh, yeah, that's Tyler. I thought that was Rihanna, to be honest.
What's the song? Oh, Surrender. Frightened Rabbit.
You got issues, bro.
I got issues.
This does not look like Beyonce.
I didn't say Beyonce, I said Rihanna, fool.
Beyonce and Rihanna. Oh no.
What?
At first I thought she was.
See?
Do you guys know the station? Do you guys know the station
No,
that
no.
does the covers? They're out of Chicago. They do.
She wears, she got fake teeth.
I saw him coming.
How the heck is her teeth so white?
Ask her.
Maybe they're not
How's your
teeth.
teeth so white? Oh, she said they're fake. No, she has to put like this white stuff on top of it. Then they'll make the TV
You know,
edit.
maybe they buy expensive product.
Maybe it's Photoshop.
Yeah. Because otherwise her eyebrows would not be like that because they know they crooked.
You are very crooked.
Everyone's eyebrows are crooked.
These tough,
You have a
really
sassy,
good
you have a
brows.
sassy brow and a
And
straight
it was
brow.
okay, because he
She
gave
does
my-
too. This one is her sassy brow and this is the straight one. Because this one goes up and this one
Made
goes
it more
down.
fun.
Oh.
Now I would.
You don't have any sassy brow, you just have slug brow.
Well, I didn't even
I
know.
can't
Can
find.
you play Hillbilly Thunder?
It's okay. Do you
No,
guys
really?
know?
Oh
Go
no.
back to the 90s.
Libby,
What?
do you know there's a
that
there's a
country-
radio
that country music?
station that they do this covers show,
Uh-huh.
and they'll invite bands. It's really cool. They invite bands. They come in and they pick a song. They have a list of songs to cover. They let the bands pick. So if you show up, the first band that shows up
You get to
gets to
pick?
pick who they want to cover.
But where is this?
Well, it's a radio. Do you know? Does this sound
Somewhere
familiar?
around the world.
No.
107, I mean,
No.
It's a W. I think it's out of Chicago.
Old people
WGN?
97.
No, it's not
That's
W.
Wait, old
That's-
people
that's
station?
Chelsea.
Yeah, 97.5. My mom listens to it. It's so annoying.
To my mom.
97.
Yes, it's like the oldies
Oh,
and goodies,
yeah.
and then they have the whole
I
bunch.
don't know what I
Yeah, she actually goes to the country clubs that they play music from. I'm like,
Is your mama okay?
yes.
My mom don't do
Like,
that.
I love it.
Wait, my mom doesn't
Yes.
do that.
No, there's a,
Well,
okay,
she is-
How's
Thunderstruck.
your
Wallace, have you heard
Oh,
of Thunderstruck?
76.
Like a
She's
hillbilly band?
76? My
There's
mom's
a
only
hillbilly
40.
band.
I played
No,
that
I think she's 38.
You
That's
did?
38.
AC
My mom
Dixie.
is
Is that their name?
59.
That's the name of the
The
band.
banjo?
Yeah.
I saw a video of it recently, and that they are good.
They're
Then
really
your dad was a
good.
player.
I love the banjo.
You sound like you're
He
gonna.
was a player. He got
Hey,
free
my mom was from
hose.
Louisiana. There's some hillbilly.
Damn.
I dated a girl from Louisiana once. No, this is a true story. You know what
How
her
did
name
you
was?
date
I'll
her?
tell you her name. I'll share.
Betsy.
I'll give you no. This is her first name. This is
Rolando.
true. Her name was Misty Dawn.
Misty Dawn. Just where did she work?
Does it get wider than that?
She was a.
Hey, look her up on Facebook.
Wow.
She's
Well,
probably
no,
doing
no, no.
that.
That's her first name. You'd have to have her last. I actually didn't know her last name.
That was her first
Wait, I
and
thought
middle
that was her
name, right?
last name, Dawn. Wait, so it's Misty
They-
Dawn?
Well, Dawn would have
What's
been her
that
middle
name?
name.
Sean Don.
See, they do people. Sometimes they use the middle name. Like
No,
my mom's-
sometimes they have two first names.
My mom's
What?
name
Yeah,
was
my brother
Ida
has
B.
two false names.
My mom's name was Ida B.
Wait,
That's
Falls?
what everybody called her.
What?
Hold on.
That's B was her middle name,
Wait.
and Ida, and so they just
Wait, you said B was her
B
name?
as
the-
B.
Oh, Violet.
Vera, I think it's short.
I gotta
But her
call
name was just Ida B. B.
What?
They used to call like they have like Ann, like Deborah Ann. That's
Yeah, that's the middle name probably. That's just how they call it.
Dude, this is confusing.
Gloria
I-
Jean.
My brain's hurting.
You should exercise it more.
Yeah.
Nah. I'll do for important things.
Tired day.
I want to sleep.
I think they
Why
must
does
have
she
got
like
rid
Taylor
of the video.
What? This was
I bet there's
wild.
some
I know,
copyright
that's the
issues.
funny part.
Sorry guys,
What?
but I will put on music.
No.
Hold on.
Put on that fifth period music.
That's what what's the fifth period?
No, not that elevator music.
Yeah, it's boring. You know what?
What if he gets stuck
Let
in
me
it?
inject a little excitement
Should we
right
play-
now. You guys ready?
Wait,
Hold on.
we should play Snoop Dogg.
You know
Snoop
what?
Dogg, no.
And Dr. Dre.
Outside?
Play nothing but a G-Man.
He almost ran me over in the
Isn't that
hallway.
Dr. Dre?
Huh?
Isn't that Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre
Yeah, he
and
was running
Snoop
the hallway.
Dogg.
I'm just like, because he wasn't stopping. Yeah. I had to move off the way.
He was ran you over?
Yes.
He drive?
No, like running.
Oh, you mean he? Oh,
What?
okay.
He had
Running
his
through
eyes
the hallway
closed.
fast and then nothing.
Wait, Mr. Wallace, can we play
Yeah, move out the way.
Move out of the way. Move out of the damn way.
Yeah, like,
Hey.
watch who's coming when you're.
That's by Ludacris.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
That's by Ludacris.
Move out of the damn way.
No, move, bitch.
Get out the way.
Get out the way.
That's his song.
It is.
Go and play with
You know what's cool?
I can play- I
Have
can
you
play
guys
with
seen? Have you guys seen the movie?
It's like 1970s,
That
probably.
was with Matt Damon. He plays a cop. It's all these like that. So Matt Damon. Was it Matt Damon?
Sisterhood. Or sister party.
I can't remember if it's Matt. No, it might. No, it's not Matt Damon.
Mr. Wallace.
It was no, it wasn't me. It was
Play
this
it.
guy. He's a cop, right? He's an LA cop, and it's all these like lives meeting this intersection, and he has this. The movie begins. He
pass.
oh, what? We got a pass.
Woo!
Is it for me?
Hope it's for me.
Well, are they gonna fire you, Mr. Wallace?
Nicole,
Aw.
gotta go.
Lucky. Is it early dismissal?
Should I play the song? Yeah.
No,
Why not?
is it inappropriate? No, it's not appropriate.
It's not.
It's
It's
not.
not appropriate, so we don't play it.
What?
It's fine.
No, I don't want to hear it's fine. Is it appropriate for class? Like, would you play in front of Mr. Ginther?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would.
You have a lot.
Yes.
Would you, if you played it in front of him, would he
I'll play
approve
it
of it?
about
Yes.
Then don't play.
Yes.
Don't play.
Maybe.
Let me
You're no fun.
play that.
Play the freaking song.
Oh, yeah.
But Ludacris, right, was
I can play
in
it
this
later.
movie at the end.
No, that's boring.
Can you just, Jesus, why didn't I send you out of here?
It's not too late.
Let's go back to this.
I can play the
Standard of living, what's standard
No,
of living?
you already ruined it.
Open to page 42. Tell me what standard of living is. Get out your textbooks. Open to 42. You too.
How that?
All right, have you ever got on?
No.
Then put that away. Done. We're done. I tried to help you.
Hi, Denise.
It ain't happening. Unplug it and give it back to me.
I wanna say
Open up your book, page 42.
Mr. Wallace.
Let's go.
I want to say something.
Now you're talking to her.
I am, but I want you to hear this. Hi, Tanisha. I know what you meant about the economics being boring, not Mr. Wallace.
No, she meant
I
me,
want,
too.
no, I want you to know.
Let's
I
call
want
a spade a
Tanisha to
spade
know
here.
something. I've been in other economics classes at this school. It sounds like the teacher is talking a foreign language.
Yeah.
That's boring because I didn't understand any of it.
¿Dónde está la casa de Bibi?
No, it was not. I wouldn't
Uno, dos,
understand
tres, cuatro,
Better
cinco,
than
cuatro.
the demand curve and all these things that they get into. So he is the most interesting economics teacher. As interesting as economics can get, he is.
Yeah, you can say over the phone.
That's all I
Watch this,
can
when I
say.
teach it.
And you don't have that to,
Are you doing
compare
salsa?
it to. Say,
What was the question we were looking on this page for?
Standard of
oh,
living.
A measure of
Standard of
comfort
living,
and
what is
services-
standard of living?
Services available.
That is not standard of living.
Yeah, it is.
What is the concept?
A measure of wealth of goods and services available to help people in the country live comfortably.
So when we talk about, so obviously the economic definition of a standard of living is they're talking about the measure of the types of goods and services that are provided by a society. So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys consider Americans to enjoy a high standard of living? And so one of the questions one of the things you guys need to think about is, well, think of the goods. Is there an abundance of goods that are available to people? at reasonable prices? There's that. And obviously a strong economy is going to provide for its citizenry goods at reasonable prices. The other issue is services. So what kinds of services are we talking about? I got a question for you guys. I'd like you guys to ponder this. What services do you think should be essential to the citizens of a society? I'm not asking you guys to think about what are provided here in the United States. I'm asking you guys I'm going to write essential services. Okay? And we know we're not talking about, these aren't free. These are created. Who creates services? The government. And who supports the government?
Us.
Taxpayers.
Okay, so these are services. What services should a society, should a government provide its citizenry?
Universal health care.
Universal health care. What do you mean by universal health care?
Well,
What are we all talking about? Here, I'm going to point to you. I'm going to go through each of you, and you tell me what you should get. What should be provided to you? Now, if you don't know what kinds of things should be provided to you, then don't waste our time. You don't have to guess at it. Well, what do you think should be provided to you? The question is this: have you ever been with your parents, or have you ever gone to get health care? Are you guys familiar with the cost of health care?
No.
I'll give you an example. My kids needed braces. My daughter's braces cost us,
$9,000.
because my dental plan doesn't cover braces. It's considered cosmetic, and they didn't have it to the degree that it was medically necessary. Cost $7,000. I paid out of pocket $7,000 for her braces. My son, he had a greater need for braces, but it wasn't to the degree that it was medically necessary. That cost me another about $5,500. I found a different doctor for him. Okay, so question to you guys. Do you think things like braces should be, is that something that healthcare should provide for?
Yeah, they provide.
Okay, so I'm going to point to you. You tell me what universal health care, what it encompasses. Name me one thing that you think you should get for free through our taxpayers. And obviously this means when you're making $10 an hour, Libby, your taxes go into this too. So everyone can access this. Libby, give me one essential service covered under universal health care. What should be something that you should have access to? Now, the questions come back to what are the difference between needs and wants? Right? Because there's a big debate over this. For example, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm not trying to make you guys uncomfortable, make you guys laugh. But there's a question concerning things like condoms, things related to reproductive health. Okay? So should the government pay into people getting access to things like, anything that covers pregnancies?
I think they do. But I don't know, I don't know.
Do you think that should be an essential service? Now,
Yeah.
okay. So that falls under what category?
Health.
Okay.
Dignity health?
What's that?
Dignity health?
Dignity health?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When you say dignity health, what you're talking about, have you guys heard of Dignity Health?
Yeah.
Maybe you've seen their signs. So they're a medical group, like Kaiser is a medical group, okay? So they're, I believe, I don't know if they are an HMO, but I believe their dignity is an HMO. You know what an HMO? Kaiser is an HMO.
What does the HMO mean?
Human.
Hey, Libby, you got your phone out? Oh, you got, who has it? Hey, Ernesto. Okay, can you type in what is an HMO?
What is an HMO?
I think it's a
Okay, check it out.
health maintenance organization.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a health maintenance organization. So like, I belong to Kaiser, so that means I can go to Kaiser. See, right now, if you had to go to a doctor, you guys would go to a general practitioner and you'd pay whatever their prices are, or your insurance would pay, right? But then if you need, like, let's say you had a rash and you needed someone to see it, well, then your doctor might refer you to a dermatologist. Now, that dermatologist may or may not, if they're not part of the same medical group, you're going to pay them separately, okay? And then let's say if you have a cold and you get a bad sinus infection, they're going to send you to an ENT. You guys know what ENT is?
Yeah, I think it's like
Ear, nose, and throat specialist. Okay? Kaiser, all of those services are provided by this one place. Now the question is, are you getting good quality service? Like if I don't like that dermatologist at Kaiser, I can go to another dermatologist at Kaiser. But if I want someone who's really good, has a good reputation, if they're not part of Kaiser, I don't get them. Okay? So that's how HMOs work.
Do you get HMO for working out of school?
What's that?
Do you get an HMO for working out of school?
Yeah, so we have Kaiser, or we have, I think it's, we get what's called a PTO. Which is,
Really?
which we have more options. So we'll call this reproductive health.
They need that in Africa.
What else? Universal health. Should vision and dental be covered under universal health?
Yes.
Should you have access to free dentistry
Yeah.
and free eye exams and,
They
okay?
do have those.
What's that?
They have those.
Well, I know they
Eye
have
checks,
them,
but you have to pay for the glasses and stuff.
right?
And if you have, they'll tell you.
What else should be covered under universal health care? You guys know? Okay, throw another. This is a huge one. Okay?
Prescription medication.
Prescription medications can be extremely expensive. Okay? What else? Cosmetic surgery. Should cosmetic surgery be included?
No.
No. People choose to fix themselves the way they want to look.
Okay? So we'll leave that off. What else? And anyone can debate these, like if you sit there, I know in Congress,
Well,
this
cosmetics, it depends.
is very debated, reproductive health, whether or not people, is it a right? Is it an essential service? Should it be? Or is that something that, look, people can always abstain.
It depends on cosmetics, because it depends on, like, say if you were born with a cuff lip and palate, then you have to pay for it. But like, other than now, like a nose surgery.
So cosmetic surgery, so this goes back to, guys, we go back to this goes back to dental. Remember, what did I tell you about my son's braces?
Yeah.
It wasn't covered by my dental insurance because it's considered cosmetic. And he needed, and I asked the dentist, I said, what is required for you guys to call this a medical necessity? And he said, basically, your teeth have to be growing out of your mouth.
Right.
Yeah, growing on top of each
And it
other.
was like, oh, that's kind of ridiculous. And he said, yeah, you're right. But
That happens, like, they get, like, teeth
he
growing
said,
on
your
top of
son
each other.
really needs this, though. If he wants, like, he's going to have some problems later in life if he doesn't get the braces. But will he survive? Yeah. So they don't see it as a medical necessity. Now, hold on. You guys just said cosmetic surgery. So we're going to go back up here, and I'm going to wipe out part of your dental universal health care coverage if we don't include cosmetic surgery. So, like, the question is, so you have these questions about, well, who determines, like, what if it's essential and considered cosmetic too?
Is vision really essential?
Yeah, don't you want us to have free vision?
This is them
Oh.
coming up. They're creating, and what you guys are understanding hopefully too is that it's the taxpayers' money that's going to this. Now, is it essential? Since you brought it up, is vision essential?
Can I tell you why? Because I had prescription glasses. I used vision once in my life. I never went back because it took too much time to have all the tests done. I bought my glasses at the dollar store for $1 and they work. So vision turned out to not be essential to me.
To you, but the question is and politicians will use anecdotal evidence. So Al Gore, for example, was famous for bringing up individuals who were on the kind of the outskirts of society who needed medical attention, who were really, impacted by non-affordable health care. And people said, and Saturday Night Live started making jokes about it. Hell, Garrison Keillor, NPR started making jokes about it. Al Gore would come and say, Mary Tulowitzki, who lives in the northern part of Maine, was gored by a moose, and she is now suffering from, and they would now, should anecdotal evidence, when you guys think about this, remember the difference between anecdotal and then generalizing, and should something then be allowed or not allowed based on anecdotal evidence. Now the question, of course, with anecdotal evidence too, is that if you can logically assume, generalize that, hey, there's probably a lot of stories like this out there, to the degree that maybe we should rethink this. Back to this. So prescription medication, vision, dental health. Again, going back to the whole issue of cosmetic surgery, here's another thing. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys something. If you get burned, you're a burn victim. And let's say you have third-degree burns over 40% of your body. Now, the skin grafts that are being used, they're done cosmetically. Sometimes they're done medically to help an area heal, and then it will continue, and they want to kind of repair you to a state close to where you were before. Are those necessary? So I'm going to go back to this question. If you guys think well, yeah, someone's burned really badly, they should probably get this cosmetic surgery. So I'm going to ask you guys this again. Should cosmetic surgery be part of this?
Yeah.
And then do we limit what types of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go, so here's what I'm going to go cosmetic, and I'm going to put limited. Okay?
Limited to one facelift? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Where
See, I have to go into, once a year, I go into the doctor, and they do a reverse facelift on me, because they think that I'm so beautiful. It's going to, when I walk down the street, it's going to make people feel bad. So they're like, my doctor said, Mr. Wallace, could we do a reverse facelift, and so you seem like you're more human than God? Yeah, okay. Any other essential services? Counseling? Should that be an essential service?
Psychiatric care.
Psychiatric care. Do you guys remember what President Trump said in the discussion over the Parkland shooting? What has happened? One of the things that he mentions, rethinking, institutionalization. Should we be? He mentioned maybe, listen, we have this problem with the mental health industry. And one of the things that happened is under the Reagan administration, there was a huge effort to deinstitutionalize, to close psychiatric institutions. And then the question became, where do we put these people? How do we deal with them?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people, a lot of critics who said, you know what, all of a sudden we put people out on the streets that created a danger for the rest of society. And so maybe we shouldn't have closed down all of these psychiatric facilities. And so now there's debate over, and it's been one of those things that, it's a very touchy subject, right? Because the problem with those earlier psychiatric facilities is there was so much abuse within them. So much abuse.
Experimentation.
There was, in North Carolina is famous for they were practicing a type of eugenics, they were sterilizing the so-called crazy. You know, and there was a lot of people's constitutional rights being squashed.
Brain surgery experimentation.
And then the other thing is this, we get into a society where who determines who's crazy and needs to be institutionalized?
Didn't, like in the 30s and 40s, if somebody's kid didn't act like the other kid, they could just literally send them off. You know, I
Send
can't
them to
take
an
care of this
institution.
kid because, you know, he won't listen to me, they just send him off. So that's probably one of the ways they got, you know, de-institutionalized because they thought.
Could you imagine if I could institutionalize students? That'd be awesome. You don't want to listen? Get out.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. No, dude, I'm saying what if. I'm not saying get out. Dude, I don't even kick him out. And he freaking deserves it. Do you think I'm going to kick you out? Okay. Any others? So I'm going to go psych care. Should that be an essential service? Psychiatric care, counseling, these kinds of things. Let's say you're a drug addict, and should an essential service be drug counseling? Rehabilitation? Yes, no, what? Nah. Okay. Question, do you think these things are cheap?
No.
So right now, what we know about the medical industry, because of a lack of regulation, is that the prices, and because it's a need, what happened? Did she just fart?
To stop popping. He used to popping.
Oh, popping, is that what we're calling it now?
Whatever it is.
My button.
Ugh.
Oh my god. Thanks.
Wait.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it's been going on for an hour and 20 minutes.
I get these like build up and whatever, hold on.
When you're old, you're gonna have really bad.
I'm already old.
Yeah, older.
Chris?
You're not gonna be able to walk.
That's a myth, actually. It's a myth.
No doctor would be?
Those things that are popping, that
You don't
isn't
know until
bone
you're
on
old.
bone. That isn't bone on bone. They say the bone on bone grinding
That's the
popping
muscle
stuff is
stuff.
not good for you.
Libby's old.
It's probably buildup of
I
fluid.
didn't know it was a popper thing. I thought it was her knuckles.
It's just fluid in between your joint, your knuckles.
Oh, joint.
Well, some
What
of
did we
them,
see?
yeah.
How in like the olden days, like you wouldn't get in trouble for doing drugs in the bathrooms, like that was when they had like the windows.
Because the fire alarms weren't as sensitive.
Schools are very different today.
How do you know,
than they were
Libby?
in the old days.
Huh?
Maybe they didn't have fire alarms.
And the teachers didn't even go in the girls' bathroom, go in the bathrooms if they were just.
When I was here, there was a
No, not
campus
at this
monitor.
school. I'm saying like back in the olden days.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you guys right now what's caused all
Yeah.
of this stuff right now. The internet.
Well,
The internet has caused all because the dissemination of information. Okay.
People like Libby.
yes.
That people who wouldn't think about these things, who wouldn't discuss it, who wouldn't think to be paranoid about it, because of the amount of information that's flooded, that has flooded the internet, and all of these fears and people's access to politicians through the internet, how quickly something through tweets and blogs, information get out there and it can mobilize people. That's why we have this mania today,
Yeah.
where it's, you know, and it comes from both the left and the right, and it's insane.
In the old days, you were taught by your family and your neighbors. You didn't know what was going on in the city far away, much less on the other end of the world. So everybody kind of learned to behave a certain way, and you had less, you know, strange things going on. Sure, there was still strange things
What
going
the
on.
hell are you doing?
I don't care if there's a freaking fire. Well, it's not on me.
Well, yeah,
But
on
I mean, that's kind
That would
of,
be-
you know.
on YouTube you can look up everything in the world.
We work.
Everything in the freaking world.
Yeah, I was like looking. I don't know why, because like my cousin was like saying,
Wrong with you.
"Oh, where would you hide weed at in your house? So I get caught."
But,
And it's crazy. They put it under the dresser
but I
in
have
the
a question.
drawer.
The person, what about the
Oh.
person who did not have a grocery store to go to? They had to grow what they ate or raise it. They had to do all the work to feed the family so people would not starve. They didn't have any time to look at anything. Maybe if they were lucky, they got to read part of a book before they went to bed. That's it. So their information was contained in what their work was and their family and maybe their neighbors or friends. So it's different now, just like, so we have all the time in the world to look up stuff and does it really?
Disconnect,
any
people.
good?
Not until
Disconnect.
2020, the world's gonna end.
Disconnect.
Just kidding.
You want to change the world? You want things to go back, at least on a personal level? Disconnect.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
How would you do that?
It's easy.
By disconnecting, not listening
Yeah.
to the various.
I don't listen to it anyway.
Listen to
Well-
your friends and your family.
Well, you don't want to listen to my friends, especially his stepdad. They're all nuts.
Is he asleep? Haven't heard.
I don't know. What? Are you alive? I think he's alive.
You guys are flooded with information.
Yup.
And schools are caught up in that media now.
Not
Can
really.
I say something? This is kind of strange, but I watched a really old movie.
Hold on, you're saying
But
it.
it's
I
about-
haven't answered
But
yet.
it's about
I
the
haven't
power
answered
of
yet.
conversation.
The power of conversation. What conversation is taking place? I was asked a question.
Okay, it's a 1930s movie. It's a family. Okay, the movie's called Meet Me in St. Louis, and it's set in 1903. So it's about 100 years ago. St. Louis is a big city, but here's this family sitting around the dinner table. 20 minutes of the movie is about their conversation because there is a phone in the house, and one of the daughters is supposed to get a phone call from a boy who lives, she's like 20, who lives in New York. And they try to make dinner early so the dining room will be empty so she can get this phone call. But Dad doesn't want to eat early. He wants to eat at the regular time. So they all sit down because of what Dad says. And their whole conversation is about this phone call. Will he ask her to marry him? Will she be an old maid? And then they finally tell Dad who's calling. And I thought, everybody's just like this with their phone. And here is 45 minutes of some people's lives that they talked about and had a good conversation that revolved around one phone call coming in one day. And I thought, how much has changed, you know? We don't converse for 45 minutes around the dinner table because probably most people are getting their phone out for some reason.
Yeah, Netflix
Teeny
and
boppers.
Netflix and chill.
Ernesto, how much time do you spend on your phone looking at movies and videos and stuff
I don't do that at
during
school.
class? What's that?
I only do that at school.
I know. So think about all the things you missed out on. Were you blowing on the spider?
Yeah,
Why were you blowing
trying
on the
to
spider
not-
while she was like,
I know.
what if the spider like ran down and landed in her
What
hair?
is it?
What
kind is it?
it's right there.
I want to know what kind it is.
I'll have to bite you, Libby.
Oh, it's white.
It's
You know,
what?
it's not a daddy long way.
Yeah, you're not
Let's
freaking
let
out.
it go. It's going up. It's okay.
Gonna up, going, gonna
Until
gonna
someone-
It's actually been calculated that the
Until someone
the
gets bitten.
kids spend about 5 hours a day on that.
That's so much.
Who?
I don't.
Me? No.
No, like in the pod room.
You? Yeah, you probably do.
So I have a question. Are these things provided?
Ah, my hands are
You
set.
guys know? Do you guys assume these things are provided or
In a
not?
certain
And my
country.
question to you is this. If they're not provided, how do you determine then what our standard of living is? So they take countries like Norway, which has, you know, it's been published in the press. Norway has really high taxes. But the taxes go into what Norwegians would probably consider a really high standard of living. For example, things like free childcare. I know there are some people who their entire paycheck
Yeah.
goes to childcare. And so the question is, all right, would you, if you got 60% less of a paycheck, but got free childcare, would that be better
Yeah.
than spending your whole paycheck on childcare. So when it's 60, so when you have taxes like that, if it buys you a certain standard of living, are you more supportive of that kind of policy or not? So the question is, okay, so I can tell you, I don't know how many people are in the 35% tax bracket. But there's a lot of people in America who get taxed 35% of their paycheck. Then the question for many of them is, what do I get for my taxes? What do I get in return? What is our standard of living? Again, I'm in that 35% bracket, and so I say to myself, you know what, there are a lot of goods I have access to in America. Check. Standard of living is high when it comes out. That doesn't mean I get all those goods, but they're out there, and if I want a flat screen TV, I get a flat. Now, services. What are the services that I get? And to be really honest, and I'll be really honest with you guys, my expectations for services are pretty low. I mean, I'm assuming that we don't get a hell of a lot. As far as things like, well, what'd be important, I guess in some things I take for granted. Do I feel safe? I feel safe. So as far as the military, as far as defense, as far as policing, fire departments, those kinds of things, where I live, I feel safe. Okay? So that's checked off. But then healthcare.
What if the apocalypse happened?
What if the apocalypse happened? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about right now?
I don't know, you said you feel safe.
Well, I mean, the apocalypse can always happen, right? But do I feel safe on a day-to-day basis? Do I feel safe living in America? Absolutely.
Not going to school.
Do I feel safe at school? Yeah. Are there more shootings than when I was in high school? Yeah. But are schools relatively safe places? So if you take different environments, here's what you do. You take the data. Let the data lead you. We had some teachers who were talking about, listen, if now fire alarms are being pulled to lure kids out of, should we listen to fire alarms? Should we all be rushing out? My question is this, well, let's look at the data. Are we more endangered by the prospect of fire in American schools, or by fire alarms that lure kids out and then are subject to making them sitting ducks? Show me the data, and then I'll give you an answer. I used to tell people, if you feel that your company, because you got a bonus or a raise, if that's a good thing, and that makes you more loyal, I'd say, but it's based on what? What's the reference here? What are their profits in terms of the raise that you get or the bonus that you get? Are they commensurate with, a CEO of a company gets X amount of dollars, right? How do the rest of the people who work for a company, how do they fare? So when we talk about standard of living, we're talking about goods and services. Besides universal health care, what other services do you think the government should provide for its citizenry? Hello, people. Roads? Infrastructure? So besides roads, what would infrastructure include?
Houses.
What's that?
Houses and buildings.
Housing is not infrastructure. I mean, it's a type of infrastructure. So should the government provide housing? Free housing?
No.
No? Okay. So not houses. But other types of infrastructure. So things like schools.
Building freeways.
That's a type of freeways. Well, that's covered by roads. Roads and freeways. How about airports?
Yeah.
The train system. Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was just stretching.
Were you just stretching?
Yeah.
Well, you're looking at me and going like this. What else am I supposed to think?
He's waiting at you.
Okay, besides infrastructure, besides universal health care, Defense, do you guys think defense should be up here?
Maybe.
Okay? Defense, so that's like military. What else? What other services?
School.
School, so education. So how far do you guys think education should be taken?
Just off, I don't know.
You know, in the state of Alaska, if you're a resident of Alaska, there's so much revenue provided by the state that not only will you get a cut of the oil money in Alaska, but education is provided free to you guys. If you want to go to the University of Alaska at Fairbanks, the University of Alaska at Anchorage, any of the community colleges there, you can do it for free.
What's the catch?
You gotta live in Alaska.
Do you have to live there a certain amount of time?
Probably, there's probably a residency requirement. I would imagine a year or
So
so
was.
before you can.
And you actually
What
get a
lunch
check
going?
from the oil industry.
I've heard every resident in the state of Alaska, yes.
You know how much it is?
Nope. You look it up,
It's about ten.
tell us. Let's find out.
The
About
average.
$10,000 a year.
Is it about 10,000? Let's see if he's right. Is that what you heard?
Yeah, that's what I
You
heard.
seem to know a lot.
Hey, I'm moving to Alaska if that's what I'm.
Yeah, do you want to live in Alaska?
No, I don't have enough clothes.
You got those new gloves.
Well, they won't give you more.
They will not do anything to help her.
Alaska oil, what do you call that? An oil refund?
Subsidy? I don't know.
Subsidy.
Just, yeah, just I type in, how much do residents of Alaska get from oil?
Oil
Subsidy.
for.
Okay, so we got standard of living, and last thing, what is the concept of sustainability? Do you need to, yes?
Around $1,884.
So it's a lot less than 10,000.
Isn't that
Oh.
what abandoned house?
That was as of September of 2017.
Yep,
Right.
yeah, I know. No, I know.
So that's still nice though, I mean, if you try, that's a couple $1,000. Oh,
There you
I
go.
won't live there for that.
You guys are looking at me like you're expecting me to say something. Work out of your books.
What can I say? Two services?
Oh, sure.
Police,
Police,
fire. Don't, if our houses are.
Ambulances.
we're gonna call this safety. So, you know, ambulances are part of, those aren't,
Medical.
they're privately owned, many of them. So when you see not the EMTs, the paramedics that are connected to fire stations, those are paid for through your taxes. But actual ambulances, those are all private. Those are private companies, so. Should those be essential services? Should we have stations set up? Okay. So if you believe in universal health care, emergency services, free medicine, free medical care, then the question is now, one of the problems here in the United States, we don't have what's called a national hospital system. So we're going to get this health care through private companies. Okay, do you like blurt something out and then turn your back on me? I thought you were trying to have a
You told us to
conversation.
work on our book.
Well, then you yelled out, free ambulances. And then that led to a freaking discussion. Work on your damn book. Chapter 5. I'm going to come around. I want to see progress. So take out the things that you started yesterday when I told you to create that after chapter 5. Unless you're working on another chapter. And if that's what you're doing, then I expect to see a paper out that has another chapter on it. Where's your paper that has your homework? I want to see that. Actually, you're okay. You've been turning stuff in. How about you? Where's the header that you started yesterday?
Oh my God.
Yeah, find it. Ooh, lunch. Can't wait to eat my lunch today. I have fried potatoes, my frittata. I'm telling you, baked potatoes on a Sunday warms up your whole house. Bake them on a Sunday, stick them in the fridge.
I can't eat them.
Oh.
They turn into sugar. Oh, I stopped eating them.
Has a pencil.
Yes, I can. Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna try to print up that stuff.
Okay.
So they're working on their chapters. What do you got right there? What chapter is that, Tyler Platts?
5.
5? Okay, I want to see progress on that.
Okay.
What's chapter is that? That's 5.
Mr.
That's
Roberts.
4.
I'm not sharpening.
4 isn't a week 7 assignment. That was a week 6.
Chase texted me, he told me to tell you to visit him at the Circle K on Fair Oaks. He's there from 1 to 10.
1 to 10:30. Oh, he works tonight. Circle K Fair Oaks and what?
It's like
Is it by the
right next to
Manzanita
Rayleigh's.
split?
Right next to the Rayleigh's.
There's a Circle K. Right? Oh, it's across the street from it. At Fair Oaks and Walnut.
Yeah, right,
Tell him maybe. Yeah, I teach tonight, so. Tell him it's a Wallace mite.
I told him.
What are you working on? 5? No, don't cover that. Show me. I want to see that.
Okay, so
Good,
Ryan, Wallace, see where Ryan is?
He's good.
That's okay. I didn't know. Yeah, that's okay.
Where is it? I checked everybody else's. Alright, I'm not looking for a pencil, I'm looking for the sheet that you started yesterday.
He's got a big
With the
stick.
header that has chapter 5.
He's got a big stick.
Oh, Ryan? Yeah. It's okay.
Okay.